F-22 export briefing shows what it would have taken to sell the Raptor abroad. The story of Lockheed's F-22A Raptor stealth fighter has been and remains contentious in many ways, especially with regards to the short-sighted decision to curtail its production run and debates over whether or not to start building them again. The matter of exporting the jets still stirs strong opinions more than a decade after Congress made it impossible to do so for fear of the secrets of the aircraft's many sensitive components and capabilities leaking out. However, lawmakers did also ask the U.S. Air Force to look into exactly what it might take to make an export version of the F-22. And the war zone has now obtained a declassified copy of a detailed briefing into just what that study found. The Air Force released a heavily redacted, though still an extremely insightful copy of this briefing, which is titled, F-22 Export Configuration Study, and is dated March 2010, in response to a Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) request. The war zone had sought this document, which says the full unredacted version includes information that is still tightly controlled under multiple Special Access Programs, SAP, after noticing it among the references included in an unclassified report that the service sent to Congress about restarting F-22 production in 2017. You can read more about that more recent study here. The Special Programs Division of the Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition led the work on the export study. The Global Power Division of that same office, as well as the Regional Affairs Division of the Office of the Deputy Under-Secretary of the Air Force for International Affairs, also supported the effort. The 478th Aeronautical Systems Wing, which served as the F-22 System Program Office, SPO, as well as the Air Force's Office of Operational Capability Requirements and Air Combat Command's, ACC, 5th Generation Fighter Division, participated, as well. The complete group responsible for the study also included personnel from an Air Force Red Team, as well as the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, FOIA, Region 7. The Air Force had been required to conduct this study into the feasibility of an export-configured F-22 through a provision in the SAP Annex of the 2009 Appropriations Bill. According to the briefing, the document also says that service requested and got approval from the Senate Appropriations Committee's Subcommittee on Defense for more time to complete this report, work on which only started in December 2009. The Air Force had already conducted one F-22 export study, together with Lockheed Martin, in 1998, and a Red Team from the service had also re-examined security concerns around transfers of sensitive technologies associated with the Raptor in 2006. Lockheed Martin had carried out its own internal export feasibility review in March 2009, as well. In April 2009, then Secretary of Defense Robert Gates had announced his fateful intention to dramatically curtail F-22 purchases for the U.S. Air Force, something the service had acquiesced to in no small part to ensure continued funding would be available for what would become the B-21 Raider stealth bomber. Despite initial opposition, Congress agreed to the plan in July of that year in the face of a threat from President Barack Obama to veto any appropriations bill that included money for additional Raptors. In June 2009, Reuters had also reported that legislators were considering asking the service this new F-22 export study. This had apparently come up in response to one of the Japanese government's many overtures over the years expressing interest in buying F-22s. Japan had inquired on multiple occasions about the possibility of acquiring Raptors, despite the passage of an amendment to another bill in 1998, put forward by David Obey, then a Democratic representative from Wisconsin and chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, which had blocked any potential exports of these jets. Israel and Australia had also shown robust interest in purchasing Raptors. All of this had an impact on the various ground rules and assumptions the group working on the study set as their starting point, as well as the potential courses of action they ultimately crafted. For instance, the study team outlined a notional export F-22 derived from the expected configuration, increment 3.1, of the last Raptors on order for the Air Force. They also explored cost considerations based on the possibility that the production of jets for foreign military sales, FMS, customers could immediately follow the service's own final orders, as well as what might happen if the production line went cold for a time after the last of those aircraft were built.